the Virginia Tech, and
it was a story.
Yeah.
They told a beautiful story playing football. The other game on at the same time did not. Texas A&M was beating the holy hell out of UCLA until the third quarter when Josh Rosen realized, wait a second, I'm a Heisman contender. And then went off. UCLA came all the way back. Not only were they down 34 points and won the game, they didn't let Texas A&M score. They rallied off 35 straight points to beat Texas A&M 45-44.
That's impressive.
Very impressive. Huge in the second half. And they ended up winning the game in the final minute, which, I mean, is always fun to watch. Especially, when you have, two big-time teams like Texas A&M out of the SEC and UCLA out of the Pac-12. It's always fun to watch. All right.
So, yeah, as some of even the games we've seen, we were witnessing on Saturday, was we had seen Alabama, Florida State, had a little bit of promise early on even, only to unfortunately see DeAndre Francois get hurt.
Oh, poor guy.
And
done for the season he is.
Yeah, definitely it's a huge blow for Florida State. I guess we really can't argue. We would really expect nothing less from the Crimson Tide to
be so physical.
Right, to come out, and to come out strong in the opener. But touching on, we had witnessed Penn State versus Akron. We all kind of knew where that was going, of course.
Saquon Barkley did impress me. 226 all-purpose yards. And I just want to say that I predicted in this game, when we talked about it, I don't remember when, that Saquon Barkley was going to have 225 all-purpose yards.
Yeah.
And he did better. He had 226.
So you called, right on. But, going back through and reviewing a lot of them, a lot of the games were, and as we discussed too, early on in the seasons, you get a lot of the mismatched teams out of the way. So, granted, a lot of the scores were blowouts.
Oh, a lot of them were blowouts, absolutely.
So if you were to ask me, probably my top pick of the week.
For who impressed you the most?
For who impressed me the most. I mean, even I'm a USC fan, I'm into that. It was 49-31. Didn't really...
Oh, they disappointed me.
Yeah.
I thought Western Michigan was going to beat USC. I really did.
And I mean, we were even watching that game at points too. Even when I don't think we watched any of the, we didn't watch it in depth, but we were keeping track of the score. USC jumped out to an early lead, tied it. I mean, it was tied multiple times.
Yeah, and then Western Michigan took the lead.
Yeah. So they never really kind of established that they were they were in control of that game. Going through, I mean, game of the week. I mean, LSU, they blanked out BYU, another blowout.
And I'll get to that in a minute.
We, watched late Saturday night was the Washington State-Montana State game. Of course, a blowout. All I can say is if you were betting for cover, you didn't quite make it.
No.
With 41-point favorite. But going down the list, and if you were asking me overall, my pick for the week, definitely I was impressed with last night's game in itself, Tennessee versus Georgia Tech. That game was probably the most, of all the college games I've seen today, with overtime, had to be probably the most energetic, the most, competitive. They were out there scoring freaking touchdowns like it was, like a flag football game. It's like, we score, you score, back and forth. Just to go over some notable players that I was impressed with. Personally, of course, as the season goes on, we measure based on that.
Kelly and Callaway.
John Kelly. Quarterback for Tennessee, Darmondy, decent.
Yeah, I mean, he's all right. He's not like Josh Dobbs, but he's suitable.
Right. But definitely, John Kelly was notable. Averaged 6.7 yards and 4 touchdowns.
That's
Pretty damn good.
It's pretty damn good.
And then, player that I think at the end, of course, stood out the most had to be Callaway. I think he really kind of turned the tide, and
He was like Mr. Big Play.
yeah, he definitely shifted the energy back to Tennessee, which
He put the team on his back.
right. And judging by the end result, I mean, he had 4 main receptions, and they were just like 25 yards a plus apiece,
Right.
and just was light, quick speed, got him back in the game.
At that point, there wasn't a throw that you didn't legitimately think he was going to catch.
That's just it. And Marquise Callaway definitely was another 4 touchdown night.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely, player to watch. Look forward to it going forward as the season, progresses. And I'm not sure, who does Tennessee, they play next week here?
I'm not sure who they play, but I'm going to watch it.
Yeah. Indiana State,
Oh, I'm not going to watch it.
4:00 game.
4:00. That's an
Yeah.
NFL start time.
Yeah. College on all day, September 9th.
Uh-huh.
That's okay, so Sunday's the 10th. Yeah, well,
All right.
we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Now, I've got 2 that disappointed me the most. South Florida. Despite the fact that they're 2-0 to start the season, I had very high hopes for South Florida, Quentin Flowers in particular, but they just not looked good. They fell behind to San Jose State. San Jose State looked like the better team.
Mm-hmm.
Even worse, they fell behind to Stony Brook. And I hate Stony Brook.
Oh, you religiously hate Stony Brook.
There's not much more that I hate than Stony Brook. And Stony Brook is pretty damn annoying. So how is it that you only beat them 31-17? They're an FCS school. You're a top 25 school.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't play like it. And especially Quentin Flowers, Heisman candidate, like I had said. He only threw for 185 yards and ran for 67 against an FCS opponent. That's terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Tough outing.
They were 36-point favorites. They won by 14.
No, those happen.
They happened twice in a row.
You were right with your Maryland. I mean, you got to, compromise a little bit, I guess.
Right. And so you had touched on BYU.
Mm-hmm.
They are one of my biggest disappointments of the week. Most people expected LSU to beat BYU, so the fact that LSU won by 27 should not surprise anybody. What really surprised me, and the reason BYU was was one of the biggest disappointments to me, they never even crossed midfield. They didn't run a single play in LSU territory.
Wow.
They stayed on their side of the field all 4 quarters. The only time they crossed was on incomplete passes. Tanner Mangum looked absolutely awful. And to make things even worse, they finished the game with 97 total yards of offense.
Terrible.
And a 27-0 loss.
Or in the words of Cleveland Brown, terrible. But
That's nasty.
yeah, even that too. That's
How do you not run a single play in opponent territory?
Yeah.
You're a big-time program. Big-time program. And you embarrass yourself. You embarrass your fans. You embarrass your booster. And you embarrass the school like that. They should be ashamed of themselves. Ashamed. All right, Dan, do you have your biggest disappointment for the week?
Yeah.
Who's your biggest disappointment?
Texas couldn't beat Maryland.
Okay, let me break this down for you really quickly. I'm hearing all over ESPN, all over Fox Sports, all over CBS Sports that Texas, is this huge upset because, last year Maryland was 7-5 or whatever they were. Texas was 5-7.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't make a bowl game. They lost to Kansas for the first time ever. They were terrible, and they lost their best player. So you think adding in a new coach is automatically going to put the Band-Aid over that? No. Anyone who had Texas in their top 25 is a fool. Absolute fool.
Sometimes adding a new coach puts a Band-Aid on it.
Not when you have horrible players. Absolute fools. So those of shame, biggest disappointment, people who thought Texas belonged in the top 25. That's my biggest disappointment for the week.
Well, they gave them, what was it? They were given a 4.5 favorite at home?
Texas was like an 18.5 point favorite.
At home, yeah.
Yeah.
So not only was it bad that, they lost, not only that, but like you say, they had 10 points scored over them, and then they got they came back too, right? They scored at the end.
Yeah.
So was it 10 points at the 10-point loss?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up, but
so
it was.
we were saying that you said Texas had scored late in the game.
Pulling up the exact information we're looking for, and I'm just going to confirm that that spread as well. But yeah, it was a 1 second. Where is it?
I think too, yeah.
They don't have them listed in the top 25 anymore, so not going to find that.
No.
Duh! I got this to go to the SEC.
Right.
That's not what I want. Let's look Big Ten. That's where Maryland plays. We don't care about September 8th. Here we go. All right. Maryland beat Texas 51-41 in Texas. Texas was a 18.5 point favorite.
Right. Yeah, outside of that, that's the thing. I don't really think I would have any other preferred upside of the week. That one being that right there. They gave such a high promise going in, and then seeing the result of that.
I don't know why so many people were fooled by Texas.
No.
I don't understand why so many people thought, oh, Charlie Strong is gone. Tom Herman came in. This team's going to be a good team. This team's going to compete for a playoff spot. No. They went 5-7. They didn't even make a damn bowl game last year.
So you
got to curb your expectations.
You don't think they have some room to find a little bit more chemistry this season?
No.
What do you see them?
I have them going 6-6.
6-6?
Yeah. All right. Now let's get into the winners of the week.
Yeah.
Biggest upset in football history happened in terms of the spread this week. Howard, historically black college university, entered Las Vegas as a 45-point underdog and left a 43-40 victor over the Runnin' Rebels of UNLV. Also, Cam Newton's little brother is the quarterback.
There you go. Coming from greatness. So
that was far from the only FCS team to beat an FBS team. The Liberty Flames, who will be an FBS team as of next season.
Start watching some of those games.
As of next season, they'll be an FBS independent. This season, they are still FCS. And this FCS school just won the biggest game of its career, or its program history, defeating FBS Power 5 team Baylor as a 34-point underdog. 34 points. Baylor was predicted to beat them by. Crazy.
Nuts. If anybody has the 8 ball that helps it become any clearer, let us know. But
all right. Do you have a winner for the week?
Coming into
from last week?
Winner of the week. No, I just kind of let them.
Okay.
I let them, play out as they did.
All right. So now, the moment we've all been waiting for, we're going to make our picks for next week. Let's just run through what happened. last week. Alabama beat Florida State 24-7. Michigan beat